Hey Jennifer, thanks for setting up this interest form and sending it along for me to review. I think that overall it's great, and I think you've done some great things here. So I'll just call out a few things. Obviously, having a clear title when people get to the form so they know what it is. Having the logos there is helpful for that brand consistency, which you all have been really good about. I like that you've added that little text about interest in serving and find out more about seeing if it's a good fit. One thing you could consider adding to this text after a program is a good fit, you could say, we'll be in touch with you. You'll give them an expectation of like what will happen next. Like once you fill this out, you'll hear from one of us within a few days, or we'll get back to you within a day with more information, just giving them that expectation setting. In terms of the actual questions that you have asked, overall, I think they're generally pretty good. My main recommendation would be to really think hard about only making questions required that are truly required and limiting that as much as possible. So I would probably limit it to only first name, last name. I maybe wouldn't even do, I would maybe make email required, but not phone, but I don't know. Generally, people are going to fill them out, but I would make as many questions not required as possible. Not that you don't want to encourage people to fill it out, but you never know. There's always weird things where someone's overthinking a question. They have some sort of reason why they're hesitating to fill it out, and they get stuck on that. And then that's the reason why they don't keep going and finish it. So you just want to lower that barrier by not making them all required. I think that the full-time, half-time seems reasonable to ask about. I'm a little concerned about asking on something as early as an interest form, can you commit to a full year of service? I think it is useful to have the information about the term of service, September 1st to August 31st. You may change that language just slightly to say something like, is there anything that would concern you about being able to make this commitment? Something like that. So rather than a yes, no, maybe, give them maybe an other text box or an option to fill that out so that you can kind of get more of a gauge of where there could be any issue and see if there's a way to work with them. Not making things too flexible, but you're always going to have that person that like, oh, I don't get back from something until September 3rd. Is that truly going to mean that they can't do it? So maybe so, but just be careful about that. The county one is interesting. I like that you included the map because, my goodness, you have a lot of counties in Georgia. Wow, the county map for Arizona could not be more different. If you've never seen it, it might be fun for you to Google. There's only like 9 counties in Arizona. I was just blown away by your map of all the counties here. So I am torn actually about whether this is a good thing to ask on the interest form. I think as long as it's a not required question, I would leave it, see how it goes. It just feels a little overwhelming because there are so many different counties, and if people aren't familiar with the geography, it could be a little challenging. So I would just make sure that one's not required, but I think you can keep it for now. And then these are okay questions in terms of letting them know if you have any experience. I would just make sure you're only asking questions that you really need to at this stage, because you want to make sure this is pretty short and pretty simple to fill out, and that people aren't going to get stuck because they feel like they really have to impress you with their answer, or they have to like write an essay. So just be careful. Maybe keeping it with just a yes, no, maybe, or yes, no, other, without maybe something more open-ended that could get stuck. Otherwise, like I said, I think this is a really great piece that you put together here. A lot of good things, and you can always adjust it if you see that people, if you make them not required and people are consistently not answering the same question. Maybe it's because the question's confusing, or They feel like I said, maybe they're worried they have to impress you in some way with their answer, and so they could be holding back. All right, thanks for sending this.